Google CEO Pichai heated internal meeting. All of the news speculating that Google will soon have layoffs is starting to cause concern among Google employees. This past Friday, Google CEO Sundar Pichai faced live questions from a large group of Google employees. And it was not pretty. Is Google using recession fears to clean house? Google has been under pressure for about a year now. Google stock is down 30% in the past year. The United States economy is teetering on the brink of recession. And corporate ad spending is plummeting. Google is more at risk than most people think. And because of that, practically everyone is now waiting for the other shoe to drop regarding layoffs. We cover this topic closely on this channel. That is because this is the subject of the most widely viewed videos on this channel. This video continues our coverage of the wave of layoffs sweeping the United States. What does it mean for big tech companies? What does it mean for the economy? And what does it mean for the future of the United States? But before we get into all of that, please press the like button and leave us a comment below. We would love to hear from you. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you are notified of upcoming videos when they are released. Google is finally facing slower growth. And the adjustment to the new reality is getting off to a rocky start. Google is dealing with the uncomfortable new realities of slowing growth and cost cutting. And there is a lot of employee dissent over the cultural changes associated with this unfamiliar economic terrain. CEO Sundar Pichai is pretty much constantly being put on the defensive. 2 weeks ago, Pichai delivered a shocking speech at the Vox Code conference in Los Angeles. In the speech, he said that Google needs to become 20% more productive. But he did not give details at the time, and it is still somewhat vague. Many Google observers are interpreting this to mean that Google is going to have a 20% layoff. Pichai spent the Friday all-hands-on-deck meeting answering employee questions about the cost-cutting measures. "I remember when Google was small and scrappy," said Pichai. "We shouldn't always equate fun with money," continued Pichai. Attendees of the meeting told reporters that Pichai became heated and annoyed during the meeting. Google finance boss told attendees that they should not have high expectations for holiday parties. Pichai was presented with tough questions from all directions on many subjects. Cuts to travel budgets. Reduced spending on entertainment. So-called productivity increases to which Pichai referred in his speech at the Vox Code conference. Why the company is nickel and diming employees by slashing travel and swag budgets at a time when Google has record profits and huge cash reserves, asked one employee. "Look, I hope all of you are reading the news," externally, Pichai vaguely responded. "The fact that we are being a bit more responsible through one of the toughest macroeconomic conditions underway in the past decade," continued Pichai. "I think it's important that as a company, we pull together to get through moments like this," Pichai added. Ever since his speech at the Vox Code conference, most of the news has been about layoffs in big tech. Tech companies of all sizes are facing economic challenges like never before in their histories. The United States economy is teetering on the brink of recession. Inflation is raging. The Federal Reserve is aggressively raising interest rates to fight inflation. And most importantly, corporate marketers have cut ad budgets dramatically. Add to that the fact that there is increased competition from TikTok for these fewer ad dollars. So Google is definitely and suddenly swimming in unfamiliar waters. For almost 20 years now, working at Google was synonymous with an abundance of fun employee perks. Now, and maybe for the first time, Google employees are seeing how the other 99% lives. Google reported Q2 financial results in July, and it was not pretty. Earnings and revenue missed Wall Street expectations by a lot, and for the second consecutive quarter now. Wall Street analysts now expect annualized sales growth to be in the single digits. And that is down from 40% in the third quarter of last year. Basically, this means that growth at Google, to the extent that it exists anymore, is pretty pedestrian and no better than average public companies. Lots of CEOs have blamed deteriorating macroeconomic conditions for disappointing earnings in Q2. Pichai also used that excuse. But admitted that the bureaucracy at Google has become a huge problem. "We don't get to choose the macroeconomic conditions always," Pichai said as he sounded annoyed. "I expect some economic issues to persist in the near term," said CFO Ruth Porat. Overall headcount at Google ballooned during the pandemic. The next-generation Pixelbook laptop has now been cancelled by Google. The Area 120 in-house business incubator has been cut by 50%. Earlier this year, Pichai launched a company initiative called Simplicity Sprint. The idea behind this initiative is to get ideas from employees on how to improve productivity. Pichai told the Vox Code conference that Google needs to become 20% more productive. It also needs to slow hiring and investments and eliminate waste. During the meeting, Pichai was asked directly whether he is intending to have a 20% layoff. "I think you could be a 20-person team or a 100-person team. We are going to be constrained in our growth in a looking-ahead basis," Pichai said in response. "Maybe you were planning on hiring 6 more people, but maybe you are going to have to do with 4, and how are you going to make that happen?" continued Pichai. "The answers are going to be different with different teams," added. Google employees have submitted over 7,000 suggestions on how to make the company more productive. "Sometimes we have a product launch process, which has probably, over many years, grown more complicated than maybe it needs to be," Pichai said. "Can we look at that process and maybe remove 2 steps, and that'll be an example of making something 20% more efficient?" Pichai added. "I think all of us chipping in and doing that across all levels, I think can help the company. At our scale, there is no way we can solve that unless units of teams of all sizes do better," Pichai also noted. Employees said that all of the discussion regarding potential layoffs degrade their ability to focus on work. News about the Pixelbook cancellation in the Area 120 cuts were said to be distracting to employees. "Telling the entire workforce of cuts is not a scalable way to do it," Pichai told the audience. But Pichai said he would try and notify the company of the more important updates. So, it is starting to sound as though Google is trying to make as many cuts as possible as secretly as possible. With slowing revenue growth and increased competition for fewer ad dollars, it is like more and bigger dogs fighting for a shrinking bowl of food. Google might well be facing the prospect of having to get a much larger portion of its revenue from alternative sources. That is not an easy transition to make. It's an interesting choice for Sundar to be in New York for TGIF the week after travel for employees is cut to only the most business critical, an employee wrote on Dory. Pichai skirted around questions asking related to cutting executive compensation. Pichai was paid $6.3 million in 2021. Some Google executives earned as much as $28 million in 2021. Employees pointed out the contradiction of the return to office policy, while also saying no need to travel, connect in person. "We know there's holiday parties coming up. There's year-end celebrations. We still want people to do that," Pichai also noted. Pichai was asked why the company has shifted so quickly from rapidly hiring and spending to equally aggressive cost saving. Google is still investing in long-term projects like quantum computing, Pichai pointed out. Please subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you are notified of upcoming videos when they are released. Please share this video on social media. Thank you for watching.